Hi, everybody. Welcome to our very first podcast of the Rumor Mill. My name is Tony Ashland, and you don't know me, but some of you might have heard me on the radio. Some of you might have heard me on various programs as a announcer. I've worked in radio for 25 years. I kind of left it about 5 years ago to pursue some of the other avenues of adventure. One of the things I did was I was a tour guide on the Queen Mary, lecturing on history and paranormal activity. I actually taught people how to hunt ghosts on board that ship. And we'll be talking a little bit about that later in the many programs to come. We are currently doing paranormal investigations. We'll be posting reports on our website. Speaking of our website, the iRumor Mill. The URL is very easy to remember. It's just think of the word rumor mill, put the letter I in front of it, and add a .com. iRumormill.com. What we do on the website is we look at different things, conspiracy theories for most part. There are a great number of conspiracy theories that we've reported on. If you're interested in things like Area 51, the Roswell incident, the swamping of the Titanic, we got some very interesting information on that. And we're also looking at some current things going on too, and we're going to discuss some of that in the programs to come as well. The other thing that our website does is we look into internet rumors. A lot of people are passing different things on the internet, social media, Facebook, Instagram, and not many people know whether or not it's real. Recently, Facebook started adding fact checkers to their thing. We've been doing fact checks for pretty close to 20 years now. The other thing our website does is we look into internet rumors. A lot of people like to pass on memes, allegations, let's say, about certain political figures, and we look into that. We're going to discuss one today. Maybe you've all heard that the vice president nomination for the Democrat Party, Kamala Harris, may not be a natural-born American citizen. We're going to look into that. Is she or isn't she? Stay tuned. And the other thing that the iRumor Mill does is help people determine whether some unsolicited email they received is a scam or not, and we have several samples posted on our site. We want to hear from you. You can send us an email at staff@irumormill.com. You can also call us by telephone and record a comment or question. Be sure to leave your name, the city you're in, and a telephone where we can reach you. I won't put that part on the air. You can call us at area code 562-380-0958. If you have any tips in terms of conspiracy theories that you want us to look into or internet rumors, that's a great way to let us know. You can also send us email as well at staff@irumormill.com, and we can get back to you that way as well. The dictionary defines a conspiracy theory as a belief that some covert but influential organization is responsible for a circumstance or an event. And right now in 2020, we have a lot of conspiracy theories flying. How about the one that after the election, all this coronavirus stuff is just going to automatically disappear? That's a conspiracy theory. Somebody is behind it. Let's just dive into our very first one right now. And this is kind of like something I put out there, having just reread George Orwell's 1984. 1984, if you have not read it, at one time used to be a required reading for American high schools. And George Orwell is a British author. He's written two fantastic books, Animal Farm and 1984. 1984 is about a world in the future. He started writing it in around 1947. He was actually on an island off the coast of Scotland recovering from tuberculosis while writing this. And it portrays a world in his not-so-distant future, 40 years in from the time he's at, a world where Big Brother is always watching you. If you are a nonconformist, you are imprisoned, and if you cannot be retrained, you are killed and all traces of you is vanished. And actually, the term that they use is vaporized. So they actually go back through the newspapers and all books and everything anything that you were written about, and all that is changed. It's a fascinating premise. The act of nonconformity to their way of life is a crime, but also it is a crime to think about it. And they have the thought police, and you have to watch out because the thought police will get you. Is this starting to look familiar? Hear the words of the final warning of George Orwell.
But he left one final warning.
1984 is, I believe, a quite terrifying masterpiece. So terrifying, in fact, I don't think I should like to read another like it.
I am not absolutely dissatisfied with it. I think it is a good idea, but the execution would have been better if I had not been under the influence of TB when I wrote it.
You once claimed that you have an ability to face unpleasant facts. Is that what you've demonstrated in 1984 by drawing an accurate portrait of the future?
I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
That was recorded shortly before he died in 1950 by the BBC. 70 years later, we are in a world that's locked down during this COVID-19 quarantine. There is racial strife in the United States and around the world. Domestic terrorists are looting and torching our communities. And the cancel culture is tearing down monuments, erasing our history, and labeling everyone who stands against them a racist. Heed the words of George Orwell. If you haven't had a chance to read the book, it's available at any bookstore. You can get it online at Amazon.com. You can even listen to it on audiobooks free of charge on YouTube. All you have to do is search YouTube for audiobook 1984. If you have a comment about this and would like to share it in our next podcast, be sure to call us at area code 562-380-0958. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make podcasts, and it's absolutely free. It comes with a creation tool that allows you to create and edit your podcasts right from your phone or personal computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other podcast servers. You can even make money from your podcasts with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Simply download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm on the World Wide Web to get started today. Have you ever taken an Uber or a Lyft? Perhaps you had a little too much to drink at the bar and thought, I'm going to leave my car here take an Uber home so I don't get a DUI. Or perhaps you've landed at a city and you need to get to your destination from there. If you live in California, you are very much familiar with a new law that went into action on January the 1st, 2020. It's Assembly Bill number 5. AB 5 is a law that forces companies to reclassify their independent contractors as employees, and Uber and Lyft are affected. About a week ago, Uber and Lyft announced that they were going to temporarily shut down operations in the Golden State. And these two companies would restart operations only if the majority of voters pass Proposition 22, which is on the November ballot. This is not a proposition that will reverse all of AB 5 or repeal AB 5. It's a proposition that would carve out rideshare drivers from the law of AB 5. Right now, people are speculating that this could be part of a continuing plot to damage the economy as the COVID-19 shutdown restrictions ease. This is a special report that we've posted on irumormill.com. So both Lyft and Uber have announced that their rideshare companies would temporarily be shutting down operations. Fortunately, a judge granted them an extension. Can you imagine living in San Francisco where you've sold your car because the parking sucks and you can't get a ride to work? Can you imagine the rage if Uber and Lyft were to shut down? Absolutely unthinkable. I don't know about the rest of the states, but here in California, it's a major, essential part of our life now. Rideshare drivers have been performing a special public service to the state of California by offering an affordable solution to those who had too much to drink, leave their cars at the bar, in the parking lot, and take an Uber home. According to a May 15th article by Mercury News, drunk driving deaths in California fell by 3.6% following the availability of Uber in California urban centers. This article went on to say that arrests had declined by 32% in San Diego, 28% in San Jose, 26% in Sacramento, and 14% in both Los Angeles and San Francisco, Oakland areas. So right now, Uber and Lyft have a reprieve. Come October, that could come to a complete shutdown and they will be forced to leave the state. Or Lyft and Uber might have to deactivate all their drivers and rehire a small percentage of them because they can't afford to put 200,000 drivers on the payroll. This is just like a commissioned salesman, for Pete's sakes. A commissioned salesman sells the product and gets a percentage of the profit. Well, it's the same thing with Lyft and Uber. The drivers are making 75 to 80% of the ride. And right now in California, Uber drivers can set their own surge rate. Surge is based on supply and demand, and you can charge up to 5 times the normal going rate. Now, granted, you don't normally get that 5 times the sale because people who use the product are told, well, this person is in your area, but he's charging more. Would you like to ride with him? And many people say no. Some drivers are acting wisely and with discernment, charging maybe 20, 30% more and offering a better service. And they're there. They are there. The 1.0 surge drivers may take a little time getting to you, maybe 20, 30 minutes. And I don't know about the rest of the country, but in California, I would say 75% of the drivers are at home collecting unemployment insurance. Let's talk about benefits. All of the 1099 type jobs for independent contractors have no benefits, right? But in the state of California, we have what we call Covered California, and that is where the Affordable Care Act, the federal government, subsidizes your health care. So in reality, independent contractors can get health insurance and be subsidized by the federal government instead of an employer. Most employers pitch in about 50%. I think the federal government actually pitches in more, depending on how much you earn. And if you are a driver for Uber and Lyft and you properly file your taxes, you're given mileage reports. 58 cents a mile that you drive is taken off your gross income. At the end of the fiscal year, let's say you took in $60,000 driving, you're only going to be taxed on 42% of that. Plus, you get your earned income deductions from the federal government. So you're not really paying that much in taxes. And you look good on paper for a very large government subsidy for your health insurance. To give you an example, my wife drives Uber, and I do too, and I'm on Medicare, and she is on a covered California plan. She's got a Kaiser Bronze, and she pays $1 a month. So there you have it. The only thing you don't get is a paid vacation. But you know what? I like that because I get to choose when I want to take a vacation. I don't have to ask for it. Our wedding anniversary is coming up next week, and we're going to go to San Diego. I don't have to clear it with the boss. Hey, I'm going to take 2 days off and take my wife to a nice place in San Diego. I am my own boss. It's a wonderful feeling. If you're working a full-time job and you're doing Lyft and Uber part-time, it helps supplement the income. If you're not claiming your mileage as an Uber driver, you're just doing it wrong. Okay, what can be done about this? On the November ballot, we have Proposition 22. You can go, when you vote, and you're in California, you can vote yes on Proposition 22, and that will carve out the gig drivers from the AB5 law. The other thing that you can do is you can go to change.org and search repeal AB5 and sign the petition. They have 4,000 signatures on the books now, and all they need are about 1,000 more. So go ahead and go to change.org and search repeal AB5 and sign the petition. So are you an Uber driver? Are you a Lyft driver? We want to hear from you. 562-380-0958 or send us an email at staff@irumormill.com. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make podcasts, and it's absolutely free. It comes with a creation tool that allows you to create and edit your podcasts right from your phone or personal computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other podcast servers. You can even make money from your podcasts with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Simply download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm on the World Wide Web to get started today. Have you seen it on Facebook, Instagram, social media? Is Kamala Harris a natural-born citizen? There are lots of questions about her eligibility.
Holy, here we go again, Batman.
If anybody remembers the Obama birth certificate fiasco, Robin is right. Here we go again. Here's the reality concept of this whole thing. And when I was at another website investigating the eligibility of Barack Obama, I dug into the law. And it's all there, but you just got to know where to dig for the answers. The United States Constitution says in order to run for president or vice president, you have to be at least 35 years of age and a natural-born citizen of the United States. But it does not define natural-born citizen. So where do we go as American citizens to find out where the definitions are? Well, it's all listed in the United States Code. Back in the early days, this is dating me now, it was like 40, 50 years ago, we used to say it was called the U.S. Code of Justice. And that's where the answers lie. Section 8 of the U.S. Code, Part 1401, defines nationals and citizens at birth. And the category right there is a person born in the United States and subject to jurisdiction thereof. That is it. Kamala Harris was born in the United States. She was born on October 20th, 1964 in Oakland, California. Therefore, she is a natural-born citizen. Back in the Barack Obama days of this rumor, a lot of people thought he was born in Kenya. But his mother, his natural mother, was born, I believe, in Seattle. She was a natural-born citizen. If Barack Obama had been born in Kenya or on the moon, a person born outside of the United States and its outlying possessions of a person, one of whom is a citizen of the United States, who has physically been present in the United States, or one of its outlying possessions for a continuous period of 1 year to the birth of such a person, and the other of whom is a national but not a citizen of the United States, classifies. Section D of this would classify Barack Obama if he had been born in Kenya. It classifies Ted Cruz because he was born in Canada. And it certainly classifies John McCain, who was born in Panama. And all three ran for president once served. A person born outside of the United States and its outlying possessions of parents of whom one is a citizen of the United States, who has been physically present in the United States or one of its outlying possessions for a continuous period of 1 year to the birth of such person, and the other of whom is a national but not a citizen of the United States. In other words, that's kind of iffy ground if he's legally in the country or not legally in the country. I believe that's it. I'm not a lawyer. Far be it from me to interpret the law. I'm just reading it as it is written. And once again, Kamala Harris is a first-generation American who was born in Oakland, California on October 20th, 1964. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make podcasts, and it's absolutely free. It comes with a creation tool that allows you to create and edit your podcasts right from your phone or personal computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other podcast servers. You can even make money from your podcasts with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Simply download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm on the World Wide Web to get started today. William Shatner is in the news again. This time, it's absolutely hilarious. He wrote an op-ed in Military Times. What the heck is wrong with you, Space Force? And this humorous op-ed has gone viral, and people are basically reading the op-ed like William Shatner would have read it as Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. He wrote it on August the 26th, 2020 in the Military Times. We have it linked on the irumormill.com page for you to check out. And basically he's asking Space Force, what the heck is wrong with you? What's his beef? It's really simple. Space Force is using Army-styled rank names, like the Air Force, because it is basically a department of the United States Air Force.
Permission to speak freely, sir.
I welcome it.
Do you? Okay, then. Are you out of your Vulcan mind? Are you making the logical choice
choice. Probably, but the right one?
You have captains in the Air Force, but then the next rank up would be major and then colonel. Shatner's beef with Space Force is that they don't understand entertainment space history. On all the sci-fis that we've had in the past, for the most part, they've used Navy traditional ranks for the crew of the spaceships. Buck Rogers was a captain. He was a Navy pilot, so he had Navy ranks. He was a captain. Flash Gordon was supposed to be a Navy fighter as well. In the movie Alien back in 1979, the ship Nostromo was captained by Tom Skerritt's character Dallas. And even Han Solo was a captain of the Millennium Falcon. He drove the point home talking about colonels. And here's one that didn't quite make it to colonel. Major Don West got the space family Robinson lost in space forever. I don't think they ever came back. We cannot forget U.S. Air Force Colonel Steve Austin, an astronaut who crashed his ship and severely injured himself that it cost taxpayers $6 million to put him back together.
I'm in command. I could order this. But I'm not. Because Dr. McCoy is right in pointing out the enormous danger potential in any contact with life and intelligence as fantastically advanced as this. But I must point out that the possibilities, the potential for knowledge and advancement is equally great.
So what do you think? Are you with Captain Kirk on this one? I think I am. I think Space Force officers should have Navy type of ranks. A little addition to the news story on this one is that Space Force had made an announcement that they were going to change the ranks as per Navy traditional ranks, but they were stopped by Congress. If you're as angry as all heck about this, don't call me, call your congressional representative. Well, that's all the time we have for on our first installment. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'd like to hear from you. Send your comments to staff@irumormill.com, or you can send us a voicemail at 562-380-0958. Be sure to check our website often for updated conspiracy theories and internet rumors. And be sure to tune in on our next installment when I have a very special guest. Her name, Nicole Strickland. She's the author of Haunted Queen of the Seas. She pretty much taught me how to hunt for ghosts. And guess what our topic will be? Yes, you guessed it. Ghosts. Till then, keep it real, keep it safe, and keep it healthy.